Hey everybody, I got tagged yet again by my friend Britton, also known as Sumoki Dude, with a very creative tag, and it is my reading philosophy. Some of you may unsubscribe, and that's okay because it's going to be a crazy ride. No, I'm just kidding. Probably not that crazy. So let's kick it off, shall we? What is your personal philosophy of reading? And actually, this is broken up into multiple sub questions. How do you think about reading? What does reading mean to you? How does your reading life affect your non-reading life? Well, how do I think about reading? I think about reading as an opportunity to learn other perspectives, to vicariously experience other things, to expand my horizons, to learn. Because I'm a writer as well. And every opportunity, every book I read is an opportunity to learn, which is part of the reason why I read many genres out there. Because if you're only reading one genre or two genres, you are missing out on so much stuff. So if there's one thing I can advise you, and I hopefully you'll listen to me, is read outside of your comfort zone, read other genres. I've learned so much. In fact, I've learned that. I grew up on fantasy and science fiction, and I've learned that I am kind of drawn to other genres more now. Granted, I will always love those genres. I still read them to this day, but they mean something different to me now. And I know that's a strange thing to say, and I'm probably going to do a video about it, specifically about fantasy. But that is so I'll hold all of my thoughts until that video. But yeah, it's a way for me to. It's kind of a meditative thing as well, right? Because reading is a solitary activity. You do it alone, but there's like almost this, and I don't mean to sound woo-woo here, there's almost like a spiritual consciousness in a way, because the writer is sharing a story and part of them with you, and you're experiencing this by yourself. But then we can have all these great conversations on YouTube and Discord servers and the internet in general. And that's one thing I love so much about community and my Discord server. So if you guys are out there on the Discord server, thank you so much for keeping it alive. We are small but mighty, probably one of the most active Discord servers I'm involved with, or I'm on anyway. And so I really appreciate it. And not only have we had great conversations, but it's exposed me to new genres, new books that I would not have discovered on my own. So that's also what reading is to me. It's a strange sense of community, but it's ironic, like I said, because reading is a very solitary activity that you only do alone. But I can't remember who said it, but they mentioned that reading is kind of like a conversation between a writer and a reader, even though it's through the lens of fiction and fictitious people and events, et cetera, et cetera. It's a really weird hobby. It's a really weird medium that has, but a beautiful medium that has stood the test of time. And I'm constantly amazed at just how constructing words and choosing which words to use and which order to put them in and how to arrange paragraphs and all of these kinds of things can be just such a crazy, huge, transformative experience. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but there's been some books out there that have really, really hit me hard. Yeah, and no other medium has really had that kind of power because it's something that requires so much work, cognitive work on the reader's part and the writer's part, right? It's mentally draining. I'll tell you right now, writing is incredibly difficult. It's fatiguing. Because you're pouring yourself into it often, unless you're, just writing for the fun of it, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, experience, understanding other minds, community, all of these things are really what reading is for me. And I'm very thankful again to have YouTube and just be able to share these ideas and thoughts and have you guys comment down below and continue to learn, continue to grow. So let's move on to the next one. Oh, wait. How does your reading life affect your non-reading life? So I would like to say that I've read some great books and they've changed my outlook on life. And I've consciously I've consciously made decisions when faced with certain obstacles or dilemmas in my life. And I said, you know what that guy did in that book or that girl did? I'm gonna I learned something. I wouldn't say that's ever happened. That's never happened to me, but also I'm sure subconsciously I've changed, and I just don't know it. Right? I just don't know it. So I would have to say that it's I hopefully all this stuff I'm reading has affected my non-reading life, because I don't necessarily read for entertainment. Granted, I hate that word. I hate entertaining. I hate fun. In quotes, mind you, my definition of them, because I like to feel something when I read. It doesn't have to be pain or sorrow like a lot of people think I want out of a book always. Not always. I like to laugh. I like to have pleasant experiences, you might say. But anyway, that's a really long way of me saying that I hope reading has affected my non-reading life, and the relationships I have, and all that stuff. So when did you first come to think of yourself as a reader? I've always thought of myself as a reader. Well, actually, I didn't really know what that term was. I mean, I know what the word meant, but calling myself a reader, a big proper noun reader. When I was a little kid, I loved reading. And then I got kind of in a slump. So video games came out, and yes, I'm that old. And I became very obsessed with video games for a long time. But I've always loved fantasy and sci-fi. I would say that was kind of fantasy mostly, which is kind of funny because I don't read much fantasy anymore. And I'm going to do a separate video on that and talk about it in depth. And anyway, I'll move on. So I had kind of a slump until high school. I was part of an honors English class and forced to read all of the classics, which I hated. But it wasn't until my senior year of English that I read The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. We read it as a class, and something about that book, like a switch went off. And I know that's a weird book to say so, but maybe it's because it does have that tragic nature to it that I'm drawn to. I also read Prelude to Foundation by Isaac Asimov, which is obviously the prelude to the Foundation series that is a classic. Those two books really kind of kicked me off, and I was like, I get it. I'm not bored. Also, I'd be remiss to not talk about A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, as well as Born on the 4th of July, which was those two other books were pretty pivotal in my becoming a reader. But even after that, in my 20s and 30s, I'm going decade by decade, God damn it. I read, but it kind of ebbed and flowed again. And it wasn't until I started this YouTube channel in 2000. My God, has it been 5 years? 2020, I think I started. I'll have to go back, but holy crap. 5 years, I would say that this has really cemented me as a reader. And so that means that I only feel like calling myself a reader the last 5 years because I've been not just enjoying it, but talking about it with you guys on here and on my server and analyzing and thinking critically about it. And to me, that's kind of, while my family and friends around me always saw me with a book in my hand, a lot of it was liking the idea of reading rather than actually enjoying reading. I know it's a really weird thing to say, and I don't know, maybe I have a little dyslexia or something like that, but it was always really difficult for me to get into books. It took me a long time to really find the ability to focus and comprehend and just enjoy reading a book because, like I said, I was pretty hooked on video games for a long time, and I don't play them that much anymore. But I'm really glad I came back to it. I'm really glad I finally got my groove back because it's a unique hobby and something that you can both experience in isolation, but with a larger group of people, like here on YouTube. And there's nothing like it. I don't think there's any other hobby like it out there because it requires, again, like I said, I think I said this earlier anyway, so much cognitive effort on your part, right? It's not like you can just passively participate in it like a movie. But anyway, this question's growing long in the tooth, is it not? This is what happens when you make a video and you don't have notes. So let's move on. What are your goals or hopes for your reading life? What goals do you have? Well, I would say boring goals are about a book a week. That's what I like to do. I used to do a book review every week, but then I decided to only review the books that you guys want me to review, as well as ones that I feel like are worth talking about. So you've probably noticed that my review videos have dwindled quite a bit, and I'm trying to, I don't know, add some more stuff to the channel. some book related, obviously, but not strictly reviews. So a book a week, also continually reading diverse fiction, meaning genre, style, exposing myself to other things. Granted, I don't think I should force myself to read something that I'm not enjoying. I feel like I'm always open to trying things, but that doesn't mean I'm going to fish them, because I'm a very critical reader, especially because I write. And I get really frustrated when people are not writing scenes correctly or have prose that is not immersive. And so my editor brain and my eyes turn on, and it often kicks me out of the experience. So it's a real it's a real dilemma sometimes. And I'm probably going to make a video about that as well. So yeah, pretty much a book a week if I can, and continually read a variety of genres. So moving on, what's exciting or important in your current reading life? That's a weird question. What's exciting or important in my current reading life? Well, like I said earlier, it's important for me to read a variety of genres. Also, exciting is there's nothing. This is going to sound stupid, but there's nothing more exciting than starting a new book, right? You guys know what I'm talking about out there. I just bought a book today, a nonfiction book. And I cracked open the first few pages, and I was immediately drawn in. And I haven't read nonfiction in a long time, outside of stuff like writing craft and all that. So it was, I don't know. I love going to bookstores and opening the book and reading the first page or a few pages. And it's funny because often we'll get hooked immediately that way, but we can't complete the journey, unfortunately, because as we know, reading is an often arduous, challenging journey, and we don't always get to the end of the page. Audiobooks help though too. I found that I'm not even talking about the question, am I? I'm not even answering the question, but I'm going to talk about audiobooks for a second. I like to kind of flip-flop between audio and reading, and if you own a Kindle, there's a great feature called WhisperSync, where if you own the ebook and you own the audiobook, you can kind of easily flip back and forth. And sometimes I'll find myself reading along while I'm listening, just to kind of see what the performance and voice of the narrator is like, and versus what it's like in my own mind. And that's helped me get through some difficult books. But again, I prefer reading on the page because, like I said, my mind wanders, and it's really easy to have your mind wander when you're listening to an audiobook, because often you're doing something else like walking or driving. Anyway, what's the question? What's exciting or important? Have I covered it? I think I've covered it. Let me know. Do you guys have any questions down below? I don't want this video to be crazy long. It's already 15 minutes. Pre-edit? I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Hopefully this was somewhat interesting. Let me know down below. What is your personal philosophy of reading? All right, I got to tag some people because that's how this works. The first person I'm going to tag is Carol Wainwright, and I'm sure he's going to have some amazing, insightful stuff to say, as well as Amanda from Strange Mentality Paper, as well as Lee Hunt, because I think they're all going to have some cool answers to these kind of vague questions. But if you made it this far, thanks for hanging out with me in this rambly video that I thought was going to be... I thought I was going to have some better answers, but this is what you get, folks. This is what you get. So thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.